get some water? You get some water?
You didn't get me any water?
No, you didn't ask. And I didn't offer.
All right. Dickhead.
Want some water?
No, I don't want your water.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Backseat Soccer Show. I'm your host, Jack Toohey. Joined with me is the lovely Kyle Robinson. What's that? Was that your little pose? Ooh, dork.
Yeah. Dick.
We got an exciting show for you. It's kind of short. We talk a little bit about Liverpool, their first Premier League win in a little while. First couple goals from open play. Great stuff to see. We talk a bit about the relegation battles. Big win for Burnley. Big win for Forest that kind of moves them out of the threatening zone.
Talk a bit about Palace.
Talk a bit about Palace and how they've secured their not technically, but have most likely secured their safety. And we talk a little bit about the FA Cup semifinal. Nice try. I knew what I was supposed to say.
I kind of looked like you forgot.
I remembered, and we talk a little bit about the FA Cup semifinal. But before we get into that, how's your day been?
My day's been good. It's been very exciting since Apple has adjusted their rules to allow emulators
Oh, yeah.
on the App Store.
Yeah, this is big news.
So I have been playing a Fire Red ROM hack past couple days.
Nice. I've been playing the Minish Cap, Legends of the Minish Cap. It's been very good.
It's very exciting. And the thing is, obviously I used to have an Android, so I was able to use the emulator on that. But the emulators just ate up your battery so much, like 5 years ago. Like, It was just impossible to play for longer than an hour or so. Or, like, if you were to play it, you're shot if you're on a trip or something. So now playing it, and my phone isn't burning my hands.
Yeah.
And it's holding the... I think that's the biggest upgrade.
It's been fine.
Yeah.
I've noticed, like, I played the entirety of the Arsenal Wolves game. I was playing the Minish Cap. Maybe lost, like, 20%.
Nice.
So, pretty good.
Big
pretty
upgrade.
Good.
We love to see it.
Good thing we're not talking about the Arsenal Wolves game later. But, yeah. So, I'm excited for emulators. Big shout out to Delta. That's what it's called?
Yes, Delta.
Sponsor us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sponsor us. So, you know how, like, usually there's notes for this that you provide me
Yeah.
that I don't do? So I took notes.
You took notes.
And as I mentioned to you and later on in the show in the future, they have nothing to do with soccer.
Of course.
These notes I wrote down when I got home because something must have been in the air today. The drivers on my way home from work, it was maybe not the worst driving I've ever seen, but the most frequency of bad driving decisions I've seen in 1 hour long drive.
Yeah?
So this one's kind of hard to explain, but the most egregious was getting onto Route 1. I have to make a left turn, and the people across from us can make a left turn, and it's like, both you can go left, they can go left. But the other lane has a straight away too, and obviously they have to go first to go straight, because there's another road that comes into the same intersection I'm on, like an off-ramp for Route 1, and they have to wait before everybody comes through before they can cut in, because then you gridlock the entire intersection. Somebody didn't realize that. So this guy pulls up into the middle, blocks the entirety of Route 1, which is a 6-lane highway, and he blocks it. Nobody can go left from my lane. Nobody can go left from the opposing lane or straight. We're all just sitting there until somebody manages to, like, manipulate their car through this gap, and we have the tightest, barest space for this car to fit. And, like, if they couldn't fit through there, we would have just completely blocked off the entire route, and I think cops would have had to come to direct traffic, because it's just that bad of a mess up. But So that was pretty wild. Twice, I almost got clipped by people merging in front of me who I guess just didn't look to see if I was there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It tends to happen. Like, some guy goes right, doesn't put his blinker on. He's like, I'm going to merge now. Goes, oh, shit, there's a guy there. And then goes back in. And I'm like, okay, just, like, you need to go now. I'll let you in because you clearly don't know how to merge. And I feel like I'm endangering other drivers if I go past.
People not knowing how to merge or endangering themselves to get one car ahead is really...
It's really weird. I don't know why people do that.
Really weird behavior.
Another guy who turned right onto a major highway without looking for traffic and just rode the shoulder very slowly until somebody let him in. You could have just waited for the traffic to clear, man. I don't know what your problem was. I got 2 more incidents here. That's
Okay,
only most of it.
I'm really following this, just
I
trying
know.
to visualize in my head, you know?
You don't sound like you are. That sounded
You
sarcastic.
you need a brand cam. You need a camera.
I do need a brand cam. This one was pretty crazy. So I go into I'm on Newman Springs by the intersection of 34. Doxing ourselves. I'm in the going straight lane. Some guy to my left is in the left turn lane. As the light is still red and just before it turns green, this guy has decided he doesn't want to go left anymore and guns it past me around and makes a right turn in front of me. He cuts from the left turn lane, not to go straight. Like, I get it. Sometimes people do that. They gun ahead of you in the left turn lane to go straight. You're not supposed to do that, obviously, but it's like, okay. Like, I've seen that before. He cuts directly in front of me to go right. I'm like, that's insane. I've never seen somebody
unhinged.
do that. And then another guy, last one, was waiting to turn left, and I guess just was completely unable to judge the distance of cars coming. So he was just not making the left turn that he was supposed to make. And the guy, he was 2 cars in front of me. The guy in front of me, behind him, got fed up with this and made a left turn. He passed behind him. Like, went behind him and then did the left turn while this guy was still waiting for his turn to go. I don't know. That guy was just, make your left turn, man. So yeah, I had a wild day of driving.
Yeah,
That's my
mean,
rant.
People,
Man.
I've noticed that I always try to leave work at like 4:30 because when it hits 5, people are insane. I don't know what it is.
I noticed too, the very first time I drove home from work the day after daylight savings, when it got darker earlier, it was like the purge in terms of driving. Like, the moment it got dark early, the first year was working and doing this on that hour drive, it was just a free for all. Like, it was the worst driving ever. People were just doing the most dangerous stuff. Some guy in a massive truck with those big overhead high beams blasted them at me and like rode just completely rose bumper to bumper with me and then passed me illegally on the left, like in the other lane. Free for all. This place,
Classic.
New Jersey, is hell, apparently, for driving. But I love it. You were not that invested in my rant.
I really wasn't.
You didn't even try to humor me.
I was trying. No, so here's what happened. I was trying to visualize and humor you, and then I realized it would be really funny if I cut together a short of you talking and me just like zoning out and looking at the camera every once in a while.
Bro's ignoring me for content. Like the
brain rot
content. Okay, you know what? It'll be fine if you do that and you put like Subway Surfers gameplay out there, okay? Then you got me hooked.
Why would Subway Surfers gameplay make it?
Just because then people can pay attention to that. Come on, you've not seen that?
No, I haven't.
People just post like clips of podcasts and then below it they put like Minecraft parkour or like a Subway Surfers so that people can focus on that instead of the podcast.
Are you serious?
It's literal brain rot, yeah. The kids are brain rotted, dude.
That's terrible.
The kids, this has been going on forever. The kids are brain rotted. There's nothing behind the eyes.
That's really rough. We were playing Jack was playing Elden Ring with one of our other friends, and we were in a Discord call. They were streaming it to us while we were doing other stuff. And one of our friends goes to Jack while Jack's doing inventory management, and he says that he tried to fast forward through it like it was a YouTube video.
Bro was watching me
and
play a game.
That was a brain rot.
It's like the equivalent of if he was like sitting on the couch next to me, watching me play it on the TV, and he was just like trying to fast forward with a remote, like
while talking to you.
While talking to me.
He's like, I don't want to watch this.
Streamer, this is boring. Streamer. I'm doing this for free.
Speaking of brain rot, let's get into the show.
I was actually speaking of brain rot.
Okay.
Brandon is not here, but his gift, I got the notification shipped today.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah.
How are we gonna give it to him? He's never here.
I don't know. I love I can freely talk about this because he's never gonna.
I know. We started this like 2-chair setup in what, like January, and we haven't needed to adjust it.
The moment we set up,
never shows up.
yeah, the moment we set up this up, we were like, man, we got to figure out what we're gonna do when Brandon comes because we're not gonna be able to.
It hasn't come up.
We've not had to worry about that.
Nope.
It's been in like 10 episodes, probably
Yeah.
more than that. Yeah. One day though.
Rip Brandon. We should just have him like sit on the floor between us.
Honestly,
Could be pretty good.
that or it would just be so funny if he was in a completely separate like part of this room, and then you'd have to cut to him.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good too.
And he was just like way over there or something.
Yeah.
In the corner
That'd be good.
with no light on him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Now, speaking of brain rot, we can get into the show.
All right.
David.
Cool. David.
Right. So I guess we're gonna start. What?
Why are you looking at me?
I don't
You
know.
have all the topics.
I don't have all the topics. Let me
You
look at
have
my
a
notes.
phone.
Let me look at my
You
notes.
have a phone with
Let me
all
look
the
at my notes. Let me
topics.
look at my notes.
My phone is occupied.
Let me look at my notes. Let's talk about Liverpool versus Fulham.
Okay. Did you have to think about what team they played because you didn't write it in your notes?
No, I knew.
You knew? All right.
I was just gauging. You know, I was gonna start sounding out Fulham, and if you looked at me funny, I was gonna say something else.
Okay. Yeah. We won for the first time in 4 weeks.
I think,
Well, I guess we
No,
did.
if you count it-
we did beat Atalanta.
yeah, but I don't know if I count that.
It didn't really feel like a win.
First goals from like open play in a while too.
Yeah, it's just been pens lately.
Pens
Although you
and the
do have
free
to
kick.
say it's still 2 goals from a defender and a midfielder.
Mm-hmm.
Only 1 goal from a striker.
Yeah.
And when Salah and Darwin came on, they looked terrible.
Yeah.
So some positives, a lot of negatives.
Jota being back is nice. I felt like he was just back to that kind of form that he would be in where he doesn't do a whole lot, but once he gets his chance, he will finish it.
Right.
Which is what we were missing. We just needed somebody to finish something, which is good. So he did
Yeah.
that.
And you know, Gakpo had a good game too. He's looked a lot better on the left.
He did look good.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people saying that he was man of the match, and I don't know if I agree with that.
No, he
But-
definitely was not man of the match.
I don't know why I saw people like literally.
Trent was man of the
Yes.
match.
No, I know. Obviously, he was also the official man of the match, right? I think too.
Oh, was he?
But I
don't
think he
know.
was. But I agree with you.
Mhm.
But I saw a lot of people, maybe not a lot, but a skewed amount of people online that were like, say what you will about Gakpo, but he was my man of the match against Fulham, and I was like, are you out of your mind?
I think
don't know.
I think it's just because he's played better than people have been talking about him. Like, cause most people have been slagging him off, and he put in a good performance.
I know. Well, I'm most people. I know.
I'm also most.
We're most people.
Yeah.
in that regard.
He looks way better on left wing.
He
I
does.
have
He
to
does
say.
look better. But yeah, I don't know. He wasn't great. I didn't think. Like
Yeah, he was good,
nothing to write home about, but he was better
Yeah.
than he's been.
definitely.
So
and he's better than Diaz has been on the left, in my opinion.
yeah, and Diaz I thought was
Was
alright.
okay.
He was fine on the right.
Yeah.
I don't know. He seems like he can play on either side without an issue, to be honest.
Mhm.
So I don't mind if we're gonna experiment with that and move him around. And if he's the rotation option, I mean that's like the second time in a while I feel like Salah was not started like intentionally. I feel like, to kind of
Because he hasn't been good enough.
Yeah, no, he hasn't been.
And it does look a lot like players are gassed and those coming back from injury are taking a bit to find their footing. And I kind of felt the same way about the Arsenal game.
Mhm.
They won against Wolves, but a lot of their players, apart from I'd say Odegaard and Trossard, look just off it, especially Saka. They need to give Saka a rest. Saka needs a break. He can't play all these games.
Has he missed a game all season?
I don't think so. Dude, just play. And it happens every season. He always has this fall off. I mean, same with Salah. They both have this fall off towards the end of the season because they just don't get a break.
Mm-hmm.
So either the only break they get is due to injury, and then it's hard for them to come back from injury, or they
Yeah.
just don't get a break and they look gassed.
Yeah, no, that's definitely an issue that they have. And what's funny is, like, I'm thinking too, like, City should be having that issue too, I feel like. Or at least they
Well,
claim,
they are. I
They
mean, did
are.
you see the game?
I did.
The FA Cup final against Chelsea. They
But
looked
they still
terrible.
pull the result though. Is the
Yeah, but
thing.
Chelsea should have won that.
They should have.
Chelsea
But
should have won
but it's
that.
Chelsea and it's City. It's like
But I mean, Arsenal and Liverpool pulled the result too. But
Yeah.
they are all looking a little tired. And in City's defense, they did play to extra time.
No, and I
on the
agree with that. But
Wednesday.
also, like, I feel like City has the depth to not be like, they could have rotated like their whole squad, I feel like, for that game against Chelsea and still probably won that.
Yeah, but are you actually going to rotate all your squad in the FA Cup semifinal?
Obviously not the whole squad, but I feel like there's a lot of players.
I guess you could have rotated a couple more. I mean, City's it's easy to forget that now City's squad is kind of thin. Like the quality is deep, but the squad itself isn't that deep.
Like size wise, I guess.
Yeah. Quality wise, everyone coming off the bench is amazing, but they don't really have that many people coming off the bench.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Chelsea squad massive, and there's no quality, I feel like.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw the picture. Their squad list was like almost twice the size of City's, I think. Did you see the picture of that?
Yeah, that was crazy.
The team sheet for like what is it? Just like the papers they give out at the
Mhm.
start of the game was like, yeah, twice as much almost.
Yeah, and I mean Chelsea, what are they doing? I mean, there were so many times Chilwell in particular could have sent a ball early and they would have
Was
been
he
in.
the one when Sterling was making a break and there was nobody on him and Chilwell
Yeah.
just like the worst part
He
of that
just waited.
his
he
head
waited,
was
he
up.
Waited.
Like he saw
No,
him.
he was looking. He was just waiting till later for some reason.
There was
I
no
don't know
reason because
why.
the defender was gaining on him and nobody was catching up to Sterling. There was no reason to not send his ball in early.
And I feel so bad for Sterling because he should be playing more. He has a lot of goal output and he's played very well relative to the City squad. And then he gets screwed by people not sending him in there. I don't know. Maybe I'm being too nice to Sterling.
Even I'm like, because we're on this show, we speak pretty positively of Sterling. I feel like you go on a Chelsea thread and he is the first player to be bashed.
I don't understand
for
it.
no
I don't-
reason.
like,
Because he's never the
Poch-
worst player.
Poch called out him and Mudryk too. And at the time when I looked at that, he had a goal contribution every 160 minutes. Like that's good. It's not amazing, but that is solid.
People will either bunch Sterling and Mudryk together and call them both shit, or they'll look at Mudryk and they'll say, "Look at that untapped potential. This guy's gonna be good." And then they'll look at Sterling, but he's like crap. It's like I don't understand. You could
I know
look
when
at both of those players and think that Mudryk is somehow better. I don't know.
I mean, stats aside, like he has a goal contribution once every 2 games, which is good for a winger. When you watch games, he contributes to the attack a lot. Like if we're comparing him to the other options, Madueke looks horrendous. He looks terrible. Like Madueke offers nothing compared to Sterling. I don't get the hate.
It's
for him.
I understand. So I understand the hate in the sense that I understand players complaining about him. I don't understand why he gets scapegoated harder than the rest. I think is where I'm at.
Okay. All right.
Like, and not that I think that he deserves the hate. Like, I understand why players or why fans would complain about him because they're like he just ends up in situations where he's not scoring maybe where he should be and he's had some mistakes for sure. But like, I don't understand how you single him out when you have Madueke, Jackson, like Mudryk, like all in the front three-ish area who are just useless. Like I don't like they're completely useless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't understand why he gets the most hate for that.
I don't know. I mean, Jackson does deserve the hate, having missed multiple easy chances against City. I mean, Chelsea should be in the FA Cup final. Like, they should be.
Jackson, to me, has, like, the Darwin Nunez vibe to him of, like, he creates... he creates less than Nunez, but I feel like he creates for Chelsea and then has the same problem of then when he gets the chance to finish, completely whiffs it in the worst way.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have the positive of Nunez has occasionally hit worldies for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Jackson has not done
Jackson
that.
hasn't done
So
that.
he doesn't have that to fall back on and be like, well, look, I've done this. Like he's done nothing.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell.
I also think people have been unfair to Poch because he's inherited the squad of this bloated squad of 30 players, mostly all young, apart from Sterling and Silva,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess Chilwell, but he's always injured. And he's done not well, but like okay. I mean, he got to League Cup final, FA Cup semifinal, and their underlying numbers are good. And I know they're super inconsistent, but they have good games where they play well.
And I would say, and we've said this before, whenever I watch Chelsea play, even though it tends to be a lot of like occasionally like dog shit performances and just like a mess sometimes, they look like they tend to have a plan and they know what they're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, and the kind of thing they're trying to do is what you want a team of that caliber to do, which is possess,
Yeah.
press high. I mean, it's the consistency, it's the age. Like you're never going to get consistent good performances out of that young a team that hasn't played with each other
And that
like,
large of a
at
team.
all. And that large of a team. Like I think people wanting Poch gone or blaming Poch are just being unreasonable, honestly.
Yeah, but that's like all fans.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But I think given a little more time, Chelsea will be very good.
Yeah, I think they got to trim like some of the bloat in their squad.
I have to trim a lot of the blow.
They got to trim the salaries for sure.
Yeah, they got to trim
and
the salaries.
8-year contracts. Or
I mean,
whatever they
look, I'm not saying Poch is definitely going to be a success because there's all the backroom mess that's insane.
have. Definitely.
Like they're extending Mudrik's contract for financial stuff. Like why? That's insane to me.
It's because they know they're stuck with him.
Yeah, and this is what Poch has to deal with. And I think it's unfair to put it on him so much.
Yeah, that's so crazy to me. Like you have a player there who could very realistically never play for that team, and he will be there for 7 years.
Yeah,
Like that's wild.
it's insane.
Maybe he'll come good, but I don't know. He's not looked like he offers a whole lot
Right.
to the team currently. But again, maybe once there's more time, more chemistry in the squad, and they get rid of other players that they actually can probably financially offload.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll become a core part of the squad. But they're just such a fascinating. I feel like they're going to be a very, very fascinating case study in terms of like club financials in a couple of years.
Yeah, definitely.
Like right now, we're looking at something like I guess it's probably unprecedented, right? With how many long-term contracts this team has.
I think so, and it's gonna be interesting because they are gonna be the only case study because they immediately patched the rule.
Right, they've changed the rules because of this.
It's just gonna be Chelsea with these long contracts, and we are just gonna be able to see how this plays out.
Like I would be so interested in to look ahead early in like 5 years from now and just see what that has done to them financially.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something that it's one of those things where even though it was technically a loophole to amortize, that's the term for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff so that it would work out.
It still seemed bad.
It seems bad at the time.
Like we have clips of us saying
Yes.
how this was going to happen where the players weren't going to perform and then they'd fall out of favor with the manager and then they'd just be there. I mean, it happens with players with way shorter contracts than 7 years.
And I'm not like an accountant, and I don't know the cost benefit analysis math here. I'd love to look at it because I might be able to like, if I had like a high level summary of it, but it can't possibly have even been a good idea on paper, right? At the time, like, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's
Exactly.
I'm not an accountant, but if you showed me like the general numbers like over 8 years, and I feel like I could look at that and be like, you shouldn't be doing that. Do you ever seen that meme where it's like, help me balance my budget? And then it's just like a list of like regular items, and it has like $5,000 on candles. And like spend less on candles. Like, no, like it just seems so stupid.
Yeah, it does seem really dumb. Chelsea, balance my budget. Normal stuff. 100 million and a 7-year contract on a player from the Ukrainian league.
Yeah, don't buy him. No. Spend less on the Ukrainian.
Yeah, don't buy
No.
him. Sell my captain?
Did you say sell my captain?
Did you say sell my homegrown captain?
I must have misheard you. What a mess.
Moving down the table, this was a very interesting weekend for relegation.
Yeah.
Lot of bottom 7 teams going up against each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Palace didn't go up against a bottom 7 team, but they all but secured safety. If there were any doubts, they were pretty close to that bottom portion. But I think with
They
this
were nearing
win,
it.
with this
Yeah.
win against West Ham, I think they're safe now.
Most likely.
And going off this game, I think now is the time to cash in on Elise, because obviously he's so instrumental, him and Eze, to Palace's attacking play, but he's just not available enough. And
Is he out again? That's what
I don't know if he's out again, but he hasn't had a lot of minutes in the past couple of seasons. And now he's fit and now he's scoring. So I think going into the summer, now is the perfect time to sell him, improve your squad around Eze,
Mm-hmm.
or even get both of them, make a huge amount of money, and build around Wharton, who looks really good too.
Right.
But yeah, Elise in particular, I think now would be the time to sell. I don't know. What do you think?
I feel like that's a big change to make in one season to get rid of both of them.
But I think Elise definitely.
I
now
think
is the
one of them's
summer.
probably smart. Yeah. I feel like whoever you can get the most money for.
Because Eze's just more available. I mean,
Mhm.
he's had injury problems, but they've been. He had one bad injury problem, and Elise is like kind of out with little things consistently.
Right. I mean, especially because I feel like they've looked so much better under the new manager, like at least in these last couple games. So it seems like they're on a positive. Seems like they have a good squad right now or a good like setup. So yeah, if you could get the money for Elise and bring in like a couple of players of similar quality or lower, but like have more to build off
Yeah.
of, like a wider squad, more to play with, or then build players around, like you said, as a I agree. I think probably this summer is the time for them to make moves because I feel like they're at a position where if they are smart with their transfers, they could push up the table, like
Yeah.
perform better. Because I mean, they shouldn't. I feel like they probably shouldn't be as low as they are in the table this season.
Because I think going into the summer, if they make some smart moves, they already have a pretty strong spine
Mm-hmm.
with Anderson, Wharton, Eze. Mateta's been better, but maybe he could be improved on. But you have the strong spine, strong starting point. You have Mitchell, who's really good
Yeah.
for them, and you just have you have a lot to build on there.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And rest of the relegation battle, Burnley have moved themselves within safety. I still don't think they'll get it because
I
I
was
mean
looking at it's still
they're
it's a
still
reach.
3 points back, and they did only beat Sheffield. So, I mean, it gives them hope, but I still don't think they have enough. Everton, on the other hand, beating Forest is huge
Yeah.
because they have a game in hand and they're 4 points clear, right?
Let me check.
So I think Everton have to win one more game, and I think they'll be pretty much safe.
Everton technically 5 points clear of relegation with the game in hand.
Okay, yeah.
So
So I think Everton are in a pretty good spot. So it's really, for me, between Forest and Luton.
Yeah, I mean Burnley's 3 points back behind Forest, but the goal difference is so staggering
Mhm.
that they'd have to actually win 2 games or win in a draw, and Forest have to
2
lose
out of
everything
4
else.
games.
Yeah,
That I don't see that.
and Forest is not worse than Burnley, so
Mhm.
that's gonna be rough. Luton only 1 point back again, though goal difference, so they would need to win, and Forest would have to not. They'd have to drop all their points.
Yeah, so I think it really could go either way. Who do you think will end up going down?
I think it's gonna be the 3 that came up. I think it's Luton, Burnley, Sheffield are going back down.
You think so? I think I think Luton will have just enough to stay
You
up.
think so? Let me see who Forest is playing.
I think that is important.
Forest is playing City. They're going to lose.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing Sheffield. They're
They're
probably
gonna
going to
win. So that's 3 points.
They're playing Chelsea. I think they'll
Could be a
probably
point.
lose, but I think they get a point. And then they're playing Burnley. They're going to win, I think. Maybe not. Forest Burnley, I think, is favoring Forest, though.
Is it home or away?
That's a good question. It's at Turf Moor.
So I think Forest could get anywhere between 4 and 6 points from the last couple of games.
Right, and
So
should I
what
check
about
Luton?
Yeah, what about Luton?
Luton play...
Because are they level on points right now? Or is it
Luton and Forest?
Yeah, is it
No,
Luton
Luton's
24 points?
Luton's 25, Forest is
25,
26.
26. Okay.
So they're a point down. But anyway, Luton's schedule, they play Wolves, which I think they'll
Home
probably
or
lose,
away?
but they play Wolves away.
Okay.
Then they play Everton
Home or away? Because that's really important for
home.
Luton. Okay.
So I
They
think that's a
could win
winnable
that.
game. They play West Ham away. I think that's a point. They could get a point.
They could get a point.
And then they play Fulham at home.
All right, so I am going to favor Forest to stay up
I
then.
think Forest has a
Just
much
based on
easier
that.
last 4 games.
Yeah.
I favor Luton to maybe get a result over Everton and then possibly a point elsewhere, but I don't expect them to win any of the other games.
Yeah. But it still could go either way. I mean,
they just got dogged 5-1 by Brentford.
yeah,
Was that at home?
that was at home. So Brentford also putting away doubt of relegation. I don't think they were really in danger, same as Palace, but it
Yeah.
is calming.
Are they mathematically out of it? Hold on.
I don't think any of the bottom 7 are mathematically out of it, but
You're probably right. There's too many games.
Palace and Brentford are definitely in a good spot.
It's close. I think if Brentford and Palace both win 1 game, they're out of it.
Well, I mean, for them to go down, Forest and Luton would basically have to win all their
Yeah,
games,
yeah.
which isn't going to happen.
You're right.
So, yeah. So I guess it's the teams who came up going back down, which is what we expected, but not in the order that it's happened in.
Yeah, I think everybody thought Burnley would do much better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody thought Sheffield was going to be as terrible as they were.
Yeah.
And then Luton surprisingly almost did
Been
it.
all right.
They honestly
Yeah.
almost did it.
I think they could come back up.
Probably. Yeah, they put up a really good fight because I think everybody thought they were going to do the worst, right?
Yeah. And then last thing to talk about was the United semifinal.
Yeah.
United Coventry.
What an interesting team United is. Man.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Fascinating.
It really is.
It's almost like I feel like somebody has said this already, but it's like a social experiment of like what are they?
Yeah, I don't know.
What is this team?
I mean, it's clear. See, the thing is, like, everyone, including me, was baffled by United's perceived lack of identity or lack of tactics.
Mhm.
But because they are doing the same things wrong in the same way consistently every week, you have to come to the conclusion that there are tactics.
Is that the identity?
That is what Ten Hag wants them to be doing, because otherwise either they're not listening. Did you just spill a bunch of water on
Yeah, but I
yourself?
thought it'd be funny if you didn't notice that I just had this little look with the camera. I was like,
It was a fairly obvious look, actually. But
no, you didn't notice. He didn't see. He didn't see. You were saying. You don't know.
United are doing the same things badly every week, and if it was not on purpose, you have to assume that something would have changed by now. But they still have the massive gap in the midfield. It's still the front 4 and everyone else. It seems like it's on purpose to force transitions in the center, which is stupid. I mean, it doesn't work. They concede 30 shots a game. That's not good. Onana has been saving them this season.
He really has. He went from being what was maybe one of like the more laughable players for the team at the start of the season to like the best. Or maybe
Yeah, I mean, he was always a good keeper.
I know, but I think it was at the time.
It was funny.
It was okay. It was funny, but he also did make some pretty terrible
He made
mistakes
some
at the
pretty
start.
bad mistakes.
But he's settled himself much better, and he's now also facing a much leakier defense than he
Yeah.
was. At least
I
I think
think
it was.
maybe the amount of shots has like
He's warmed up.
He's
Yeah,
warmed
he's warmed
up.
up.
He's warmed up. He's gotten back
He's
into
online,
it.
which is I feel like something that you never want your keeper to have to.
No,
you never
it's
want
really
your keeper
not.
you don't want your keeper that comfortable stopping shots. You know, like there should be a little bit of that shouldn't have came to me.
One of the things that struck me about this game was how bad, or not even this game, but United recently, how bad they've made Casemiro look. Because he is slow,
Mhm.
and everyone's saying, like, oh, he lost a step, but he's always been slow. He won 3 Champions Leagues in a row with Real Madrid being that slow. It's the system. He's getting, and it's with Maguire, too. I mean, Maguire does benefit from the lower line because he's slow. So whenever they get caught out, they're just not fast people.
Yeah.
And it's setting them up to fail.
No, it definitely is. I don't understand why. I don't understand anything of what they do. I
No,
can't
it
even.
doesn't make any
I'm
sense.
trying. I was like
It's-
trying to reach for a specific facet of their game that I don't understand, but it's like the whole thing.
It's the whole thing. I don't get it. Like they're pressing but leaving space right behind their press so you can just bypass it. They're not playing a high line. They're allowing shots. I don't understand what their
They
plan
also.
is.
I mean, and didn't they start to blow the whole 3-goal lead once also Ten Hag made the subs
Yes.
as well? So it's like not even I don't even think it's whether he made the wrong subs. It's like they've just they have players on their bench that once you put them into this system, whatever it is, it fails instantly.
Well, it's because
It's like that precarious.
It's because the quote system relies on the brilliance of individual players. So then when you put players who aren't up to speed,
like Anthony comes on, you can see 3 goals.
yeah,
For some reason. And
exactly.
He's
And
an attacking
Eriksen.
player, and you've blown. Yeah, and Eriksen
Yeah.
comes on. It's just like.
it's truly baffling. The funniest one for me was I don't remember. It was the second goal that they conceded where Dello is out of position, and Casemiro has 2 Coventry players at the middle and the back post,
Mhm.
and Dallo's running from the other side. So Casemiro stays on the back post guy because he thinks, oh, Dello will just come mark the guy closer to him, which is reasonable, I think. But instead, Dello points at the one closer to him for Casemiro to mark, and he's running to the guy at the back post. And then that guy that he pointed at scores because Casemiro
Nobody's
was marking the guy at the back post. And then after the goal, Dello was pointing at him and at Casemiro like, what do you like? No, Dello, what are you doing?
Bro.
What? Are you stupid?
But they did the same thing when Palmer scored that winner. They all pointed at him and nobody marked him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Nobody wants to actually do anything.
yeah.
Yeah. But that's United.
Great effort from Coventry.
Yeah, very close.
I only was able to watch the penalties from like the live ticker, but I assume that they just pressure. Or were they like, did they miss or were they saved? Did you see?
No.
All I know is that apparently Casemiro's penalty was really bad.
I stopped. I was watching the replay of the game and I just I didn't watch the pens because I knew what happened.
Oh well. Then, because neither of us know, I'm just going to assume that what happened was that Coventry just, under the pressure, semifinal FA Cup against a top 6 team, they just, they couldn't handle the pressure.
Yeah. I mean, they had the goal disallowed in the last minute of extra time.
I feel like that's probably what kills you. Like, if they had just gone to 120 minutes, I feel like then
Then they would have been like hyped up to take the
They're hyped
pens,
to
but
take the
they're just
penalties.
coming off of they felt it shouldn't have gone to penalties.
Yeah, I think that's the
It was
difference.
barely offside. Unlucky.
That does suck. And I think that can definitely, I think, be the difference maker mentally when you go into a deciding shootout like that.
Yeah, so now hopefully I think everyone is rooting for United to win this FA Cup so that Ten Hag stays in the job.
Yeah, here's like my issue with that is that
Because we don't want United to win anything.
Yeah, I just don't want to see them succeed.
Yeah. But it is funny Ten Hag asserting that his team are better than the great Manchester United, who only reached 3 FA Cup finals in 10 years.
You mean City? What did you say? Ten Hag's team's better than the great Manchester United. That's what you just said.
Yeah.
Am I confused? Why
That
does
he
that
said the great Manchester United, referring to the Fergie era.
Oh!
Yeah.
I thought you said he was referring to just his own team in general.
No,
He's
no,
better
no.
than himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous statement. to
Yeah.
make.
It's insane.
That's ludicrous.
It's so funny.
Wow.
What a
This
guy.
man's actually out of his mind.
He's deluded.
He's actually
He's
out of his
losing
mind.
his mind.
He might be the biggest fraud.
Yes.
The baldest fraud, even.
Some would say.
Some would say.
I think we can wrap it up.
Yeah? Damn. That's a shorty.
Well, we got to do the other thing.
That is true. We got to hit up with... We have additional content coming your way. Like and subscribe.
If David ever edits it.
If David ever edits it. Shout out David, our editor.
Shout out David.
That should be... Okay, so you know how we always call him James, the guy?
He's David.
It's David
It's
now.
David, even though
David-
David lives in DC. But
yeah, but he's here. He comes up...
it's David.
David comes up from DC every Monday to film this.
David, can you cut that?
Yeah, David, cut out your accolades.
Yeah, we
Cut
don't
that.
wanna
We don't
talk
want people to
about
know about
it.
you, actually.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, we'll wrap this up. Short episode. We'll see how the relegation candidates play out in the next couple of games. We didn't even talk. The title race is still kind of tight. Arsenal winning their game.
Yeah.
Liverpool winning their game. It's happening still. We'll see what happens. City needs to drop those
Yeah,
points.
I think it'll still go to the final week, but I think City will still win it.
Yeah. When's the Spurs game for City? Is it the next one or the one after?
2 from now, I
2 from
think.
now. I thought everybody played Spurs sooner. Like I'm waiting for that game to happen. It's not coming. But yeah, we'll see. Exciting stuff coming on. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Jack Toohey, your host of the Backseat Soccer Show. Joining with me as always has been Kyle Robinson. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you next week.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David. Yeah. David, cut. The camera. David.
Cut.
We're done. You can... David,
David, is
the
that
camera.
vodka?
What are you doing? What are you drinking?